The Toronto Blue Jays spring training camp just exploded with news that has fans losing their minds, and for good reason. What started as cautious optimism has turned into full-blown excitement as multiple developments have completely shifted the trajectory of this team's season before it even begins. We're talking about a reliever who was supposed to be sidelined for weeks, suddenly firing rockets at nearly triple digits, a future Hall of Famer in his early 40s, making everyone question the laws of aging, and a young slugger who just can't stop launching baseballs into orbit. This isn't just your typical spring training fluff, folks. These are game-changing developments that could legitimately determine whether the Blue Jays contend for a division title or fall short of expectations once again. Let's start with the biggest shocker of the week, the story that has Blue Jays management breathing a massive sigh of relief. Jimmy Garcia, the hard-throwing reliever who was expected to miss significant time at the start of the season, just made his first appearance in spring training, and what he showed on the mound has everyone's jaws on the floor. This is a pitcher who missed essentially all of last season battling through injuries, a guy the team was counting on as a crucial setup man before everything fell apart. The rehabilitation process was slow, the timeline uncertain, and fans had resigned themselves to the reality that Garcia wouldn't be a factor until at least May or possibly June. But then, something remarkable happened. Garcia completed his first side session since resuming his throwing program, and the radar gun readings were absolutely spectacular. We're talking 97 to 98 miles per hour, touching near 99 on multiple pitches. For a pitcher who hasn't competed in game action in over a year, for someone who's been rehabbing from a serious injury, these velocity numbers are nothing short of extraordinary. This isn't a guy gradually working his way back to form. This is a pitcher who looks like he never left, like the injury was just a minor inconvenience rather than a career-threatening setback. The significance of Garcia's return cannot be overstated when you examine the current construction of the Blue Jays bullpen. Right now, the relief corps is solid, but not spectacular. There are legitimate questions about depth, about whether they have enough high-leverage arms to compete in tight games against the powerhouse lineups in the American League East. You've got Jordan Romano anchoring the ninth inning when healthy, but after that, things get a bit murky. Jeff Hoffman brings quality innings. Tyler Rogers adds veteran savvy. Luis Verlander provides another reliable option. But beyond that core group, there's uncertainty, there are question marks, there are guys who need to prove they belong at the major league level. Garcia was supposed to be a massive part of solving that equation. Before the injury derailed his season, he was projected as the primary eighth-inning setup man, the bridge to Romano, the guy you bring in during the seventh or eighth with runners on base and the game hanging in the balance. His absence created a hole that the Blue Jays tried to fill through various means, but never quite adequately addressed. Now, suddenly, improbably, he's back ahead of schedule and throwing absolute gas. Manager John Schneider couldn't contain his excitement when discussing Garcia's progress, noting how good it was just to see him back on the mound, emphasizing that Garcia represents a huge part of their bullpen plans. The next steps for Garcia involve taking a few days off before throwing again, gradually building up his arm strength and endurance. He's ahead of schedule in his rehab program, but more importantly, the velocity is still there. The raw stuff that made him valuable hasn't disappeared during his extended absence. For a reliever, maintaining velocity through injury and rehab is absolutely critical. Losing even 2 or 3 miles per hour off your fastball can be the difference between dominance and mediocrity. Garcia hasn't lost anything. If anything, the rest might have rejuvenated his arm, allowing him to come back stronger than before. Looking at the bullpen construction with Garcia in the mix changes everything. You're talking about a shutdown group of 4 or 5 guys who can handle high-leverage situations. Romano closes when healthy. Hoffman, Rogers, and Verlander provide setup options. Garcia slots in as another weapon, another arm manager John Schneider can trust in crucial moments. Add in Tommy Nance, who was excellent last season and is out of options, so he has to stick on the roster, and you've got depth. Brendan Little has been touching triple digits this spring, which is absolutely ludicrous and adds another intriguing name to the mix. Suddenly, a bullpen that looked questionable a few weeks ago now appears formidable. Should the Blue Jays still consider upgrading? Probably. Another veteran arm with postseason experience wouldn't hurt. Trade deadline acquisitions might still be necessary if someone gets injured or underperforms, but Garcia's return ahead of schedule dramatically improves their relief pitching outlook. This is a crucial development, the kind of positive news that can shift a team's entire season trajectory. Instead of scrambling to cover innings with unproven arms, instead of overworking their best relievers and risking injury, the Blue Jays now have options, flexibility, and quality depth. Garcia has experienced ups and downs throughout his career, moments of brilliance mixed with stretches of ineffectiveness. But when he's right, when he's healthy and throwing strikes, he's a legitimate weapon out of the bullpen. Getting him back in the mix is exactly the kind of development championship-caliber teams need. It's not the flashy off-season signing that generates headlines. It's the under-the-radar improvement that actually wins games in September when every victory matters. Now let's pivot to another absolutely stunning development from Blue Jays camp, one that has baseball observers around the league shaking their heads in disbelief. Max Scherzer, the three-time Cy Young Award winner who will turn 41 years old before the season ends, is completely defying the aging curve and looking like a pitcher half his age. What we're witnessing from Mad Max this spring isn't just encouraging for a veteran trying to hang on for one more year. This is a future Hall of Famer, showing he might still have significant contributions left in the tank, possibly even an impact season that helps carry Toronto to the postseason. Scherzer's most recent spring training appearance was nothing short of dominant. 4 2/3 innings pitched, 0 runs allowed, 5 strikeouts, complete command of his arsenal. This wasn't just a nice outing against minor league competition. This was vintage Scherzer, attacking hitters with confidence, mixing his pitches effectively, showing the competitive fire that has defined his entire career. It marked the second consecutive strong spring start for the veteran right-hander, building on what he showed in his first appearance and validating the Blue Jays' decision to bring him aboard on a team-friendly deal. What makes Scherzer's performance even more impressive is the velocity readings. He was sitting 93 to 94 miles per hour with his fastball, which is remarkable for a pitcher his age, who has accumulated the innings and wear and tear that Scherzer has over nearly 2 decades in the major leagues. For context, many power pitchers see their velocity decline significantly by their late 30s. Scherzer is maintaining his stuff deep into his 40s, which speaks to his conditioning, his mechanics, and his fanatical dedication to the craft of pitching. There's legitimate historical precedent for what Scherzer might accomplish this season. Justin Verlander, his longtime friend and competitor, posted strong numbers at ages 41 and 42, accumulating nearly 3 wins above replacement over 46 starts. Rich Hill, the crafty left-hander who relied more on deception than velocity, provided value through his early 40s as well, making 57 starts for 3.5 wins above replacement between ages 41 and 42. These aren't one-off miracles. These are examples of elite competitors who understood how to adapt their games as they aged, who maximized their remaining abilities, who refused to go gentle into that good night. Scherzer fits that mold perfectly. He's not trying to overpower hitters the way he did in his 20s and 30s. He's smarter now, more calculated, working both sides of the plate and setting up his secondary pitches with fastballs located precisely where he wants them. The advanced metrics from his spring training appearances show a pitcher who understands sequencing, who knows how to exploit hitters' weaknesses, who has decades of experience to draw upon. Velocity alone doesn't make a pitcher great at this stage of their career. Intelligence does, preparation does, competitiveness does. Scherzer possesses all 3 in abundance. When the Blue Jays signed Scherzer, there was skepticism. His numbers last season weren't particularly impressive. Injuries had limited his effectiveness. Some wondered whether he was simply chasing another paycheck, whether the competitive fire that defined his career had finally dimmed. Those questions have been emphatically answered over these first couple weeks of spring training. Scherzer looks rejuvenated, motivated, and fully capable of being a quality middle-of-the-rotation starter for a team with playoff aspirations. The timing of Scherzer's resurgence couldn't be better for Toronto. Jose Berrios is dealing with injury concerns. Shane Bieber's rehab from Tommy John surgery is progressing more slowly than initially hoped, pushing back his potential return date. Trey Savage, the young pitching prospect, needs time to build up his arm strength and isn't ready for a full major league workload yet. Into this uncertainty steps Scherzer, the grizzled veteran who's thrown thousands of innings in the biggest games, who's won World Series championships, who knows exactly what it takes to succeed at the highest level. He'll likely slot in as the fourth starter to begin the season, providing stability behind Kevin Gausman, Dylan Cease, and whoever emerges as the third option. But don't let that placement fool you. In crucial September games, when every start matters, when the Blue Jays are battling the Yankees and Orioles for division supremacy, Scherzer could easily be the guy you trust in the biggest spot. He's earned that respect. He's proven time and again that he elevates his game when the stakes are highest. Mad Max isn't just a clever nickname, it's a perfect description of his approach to pitching. Critics will point out that this is just spring training, that the games don't count, that minor league hitters aren't the same as facing Aaron Judge or Juan Soto in a pennant race. Fair enough. But you know what else is true? Scherzer is a first-ballot Hall of Famer who has succeeded at every level of this game, who has absolutely nothing left to prove, who wouldn't still be playing unless he genuinely believed he could contribute. He's not here for a farewell tour. He's here to win games. Based on what we've seen so far this spring, he's going to do exactly that. While Garcia and Scherzer have been grabbing headlines, another Blue Jays player has quietly been putting on an absolute show that deserves way more attention than it's receiving. Dalton Varsho, the versatile outfielder who struggled at the plate for stretches last season, is suddenly looking like a completely different hitter this spring. We're talking about a transformation that has scouts and coaches buzzing, a mechanical adjustment that's translating into devastating results against both left-handed and right-handed pitching. Over his last 2 spring training games, Varsho has launched 3 home runs. That's not a typo. 3 home runs in 2 games. But it's not just the power numbers that have people excited, it's how he's hitting those home runs. Varsho is driving the ball to all 3 fields rather than trying to pull everything. He's showing a more balanced approach, better pitch recognition, and the kind of contact quality that suggests this isn't just a hot streak, but rather a genuine evolution in his offensive game. Varsho has been open about making adjustments this offseason, talking about wanting to hit for more contact rather than selling out for power. For some players, that kind of statement raises red flags. Fans remember other Blue Jays hitters who talked about focusing on contact and then proceeded to have terrible seasons. But Varsho's spring performance suggests he's actually implementing those changes effectively. He's not abandoning his power. He's channeling it more efficiently, trusting his bat-to-ball skills, and letting the results speak for themselves. Last season, Varsho showed flashes of what makes him valuable. Elite defense in center field, plus speed on the base paths, occasional power from the left side of the plate. But consistency was lacking. There were too many strikeouts, too many weak ground balls, too many stretches where he looked completely overmatched at the plate. If Varsho can carry this spring training success into the regular season, if these mechanical adjustments prove sustainable against major league pitching, he transforms from a nice complementary piece into a potential all-star caliber player. The Blue Jays desperately need Varsho to break out offensively. Their lineup is loaded with talent, but needs every regular contributor performing at or near their ceiling to compete with the firepower in the American League East. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette anchor the order. George Springer provides veteran leadership, but Varsho hitting in the middle of that lineup, driving in runs, getting on base, creating havoc on the base paths, that's the kind of production that turns a good offense into a great one. Yes, it's spring training. Yes, the pitching competition isn't quite major league caliber yet, but these developments are tangible. Varsho isn't some unknown prospect having a random hot streak. He's an established major leaguer making visible improvements to his approach and seeing immediate results. When you combine his elite defense with emerging offensive production, you're looking at a potential 5-win player, someone who impacts games in multiple phases and makes everyone around him better. As all these positive developments converge, the Blue Jays find themselves in an interesting position heading into the regular season. Kevin Gausman will get the opening day start, a well-deserved honor for one of the best signings in franchise history. Gausman has been everything Toronto could have hoped for when they signed him to that 5-year deal: consistent performance, workhorse mentality, model teammate, ace-level production. In the final year of his contract, giving him the opening day nod is both strategic and sentimental, a recognition of everything he's meant to this organization. Dylan Cease will likely follow Gausman in the rotation, and he figures to be the opening day starter for the next several years, given his 7-year contract. But for now, for this particular season opener, Gausman gets the honor. It's a classy move by the organization and perfectly embodies the kind of player and person they want, representing the Blue Jays both on and off the field. Looking ahead at the remaining spring training schedule, there's nothing particularly dramatic coming up over the next few days. Grant Rogers and Austin Keats will get some starts. Gausman will pitch in minor league games to continue building his arm strength. Cease Savage and others will get their work in as everyone fine-tunes their preparation for opening day. The focus now shifts from evaluation to execution, from experimentation to refinement. Pitchers are watching their pitch counts carefully, ramping up in calculated fashion to ensure they're ready for full workloads when the games actually matter. With less than 2 weeks until opening day, the excitement in and around the Blue Jays organization is palpable. This isn't the typical cautious optimism that pervades spring training camps. This feels different. Garcia, returning ahead of schedule with his velocity intact, solves a major bullpen concern. Scherzer, looking like he's got plenty left in the tank, stabilizes the rotation. Varsho, crushing everything in sight, suggests offensive production from an unexpected source. These aren't hypothetical improvements. These are real, tangible developments that directly address weaknesses and enhance strengths. The division odds currently have the Blue Jays sitting at plus 260, which honestly seems like fantastic value given everything we're seeing this spring. Their win total is set at 88.5, and if you're not hammering the over based on this roster construction and these spring training developments, you might not be paying attention. This is a team built to compete for a division championship. The Yankees are formidable, the Orioles are young and talented, but the Blue Jays have the veteran leadership, the star power, and now the depth to hang with anyone in the American League. The bullpen that looked questionable a few weeks ago now appears deep and capable of handling high-leverage situations. The rotation that seemed to have depth concerns now has Scherzer providing quality innings and veteran savvy. The lineup that needed secondary contributors to step up now has Varsho potentially emerging as that guy. Everything is coming together at exactly the right time, building momentum as opening day approaches and the games finally start to matter. Championship teams aren't built on star power alone. They're constructed through depth, through players exceeding expectations, through injuries healing faster than anticipated, through veterans defying age curves, through young players taking developmental leaps. The Blue Jays are seeing all of those things happen simultaneously this spring. Garcia giving them another shutdown reliever. Scherzer proving he's got gas left in the tank. Varsho crushing baseballs to all fields. These are the ingredients of special seasons. Obviously, spring training success doesn't guarantee regular season performance. We've all seen players dominate in March, only to struggle when April arrives. But when you're talking about established major leaguers making tangible improvements, when you're seeing velocity and stuff that translates to actual games, when multiple players are showing positive signs simultaneously, that's when you start to believe. That's when the excitement shifts from hope to expectation. The Blue Jays are less than 2 weeks away from meaningful baseball. Less than 2 weeks from finding out whether all this optimism is justified or just another round of spring training hype that fizzles when confronted with reality. Based on everything we're seeing right now, based on Garcia's velocity, Scherzer's dominance, and Varsho's transformation, this feels real. This feels sustainable. This feels like the beginning of something special. So buckle up, Blue Jays fans. The wait is almost over. Opening day is March 21st, less than a week from this Friday. The games are about to matter, the improvements are about to be tested, and if what we're seeing in spring training translates to the regular season, if Garcia stays healthy, if Scherzer continues defying father time, if Varsho keeps crushing baseballs, this team is going to be absolutely must-watch television for the next 6 months. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel because we're going to be covering every development, every game, every crucial moment as this season unfolds. Drop a comment below letting me know which of these spring training storylines has you most excited. Are you fired up about Garcia's return? Blown away by Scherzer's resurgence? Believing in the Varsho breakout? Hit that like button if you're as hyped as I am for Blue Jays baseball to finally return. This is going to be one hell of a ride, and we're just getting started.